Welcome back, North Stars. Boo! Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Michael J. Bragman Stadium here. As for this Saturday matchup, we have the home Cicero-North Syracuse North Stars and the visiting South Jefferson Spartans coming all the way from around the Fort Drum area. Rob, what are you looking for South Jeff to do in this game?
Yeah, and Owen, I'm really looking for South Jeff to just travel well, and they have done that this season. They tend to travel a lot. They actually went down to Florida and played IMG Academy, and they won that game. So this team's coming in at 7-1. They travel for almost all of their games. So I just want to see them travel well. Last season when they played at Michael J. Bragman Stadium, South Jeff was actually able to win that game. So CNS is going to have to come out and play hard, score lots of goals, and defend well. That way they can get a win over South Jeff.
Yeah, and in that game, we saw Julia Garvin, who's still on this team, have 4 goals, 6 assists. I think that was last game against Carthage. Last year, she had 4 goals and 3 assists against the North Stars. In the first outing and second outing, 3 goals, 2 assists. So she seems to be that main key player for the South Jeff offense.
Yeah, I agree. And Julia Garvin, she's combined with Macy Schultz, Jordan Battleato. They are goal-scoring machines. Almost all of them with 20 goals on the season, plus all of them almost over 10 assists on the season. Just the 3 of them really play well together, and that's where you're going to see a large majority of their scoring output come from.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. And one thing that makes Fort Drum so unique, they are Class D. Or not Fort Drum, South Jeff, so unique. They are right near Fort Drum, so a lot of their athletes on these athletic programs are military kids, which makes them just a stellar athletes on the field.
Yeah, and you're completely right. Just a lot of really strong athletes come through this program. And we talked to Coach Jen Williams before the game, and she said that a lot of these girls play club lacrosse with girls on the CNS team, so they all know what the competition level is like.
Yeah, I don't know if you already mentioned it, Rob, but earlier this year over spring break, South Jeff traveled to IMG to take on that powerhouse down in Florida and beat them 11-5.
Yeah, and already we just see South Jeff controlling possession here.
Sending it up onto the attack now. Have a girl open. Ball's on the ground. Nicole Meir able to scoop that one up for the North Stars. See, that gets out of her stick, though. She's getting pressured heavy.
Oh, and I do have to say, this is probably the best weather we've had for a game all season. It's a nice sunny, cool 55. No rain, no snow, no wind, anything really. Just nice weather. It's pretty great to be out here.
Pass to Sam Klein unsuccessful, and here comes the Spartans back the other way. Shea Firth playing great on the defense there for CNS. They're going to get by girl, hits the deck. It's going to stay with South Jeff. That was number 2, Macy Schultz, someone you brought up.
Yeah, Macy Schultz, she is the leading goal scorer for this South Jeff team, coming in with 28 goals and 15 assists. She gets an 8-meter here, and this is a very dangerous position for South Jeff.
Macy Schultz going to go in. She's going to fire. That one's defended by the North Stars. Looks like Allie Cole was there for the stop.
Yeah, that was a great save by Nicole Meir. Allie Cole just able to keep it from going back into a dangerous area, and now CNS gets to finally start a possession.
Robert, one thing we've had a pretty bad week on broadcast. It might be the bad luck charm. We have not seen a win on a North Star Network broadcast this week.
Yeah, we started off rough on Tuesday with our boys lacrosse team losing to West Jenny, and then we thought, hey, let's rebound with baseball. They got smacked at NBT Bank Stadium. They lost 11-2 to FM. And then we said, hey, let's rebound on Friday with Baldwinsville, and the boys team lost again. So now we're here hoping that the CNS girls can help turn the tide of our luck this week.
Yeah, the only team to get a win this week was the girls team won against West Genesee on Tuesday. Baseball won last night against RFA. I think softball picked up a win or 2 here or there this week. But other than that, rough week for CNS Athletics.
Some solid defense right there by Tori Ayanati.
As Putman comes through with that one, gets to Mackenzie Prentice. Prentice has Koska on her left and Firth on her right. Gets to Molchanoff. That's intercepted.
South Jeff's defenses look great so far, just really squashing every attack that CNS has had before it even gets dangerous.
Julia Garvin there kicks to Schultz. She's going to take things a bit slower here. CNS defense setting up.
I'm seeing a pattern that I saw last night in the CNS Baldwinsville game. The North Stars are just getting on that attack, but as soon as they do, South Jeff is just getting that possession back and taking it back in the North Stars' defensive zone.
Yeah, one of the biggest things with lacrosse is if you play the way that the other team wants you to play, you're not going to come out here with a win, which what we saw with Baldwinsville last night doing to CNS. And CNS team today, has to make sure that they play their style and not the Spartan style.
Yeah, I agree. And if you play to your opponent, it's very likely you lose that game. As South Jeff has another dangerous 8-meter. This time it's Carson Bernash to shoot.
And she scores there, netting in the first goal of the night or the day. Usually doing night games here. Carson Bernash, first goal of the season. Wow, game. Follow my words here, Rob.
Yeah, and it is a Saturday afternoon. We're kind of prepared for the weekend. We already talked about going golfing after this, so just trying to settle in here. Usually don't wake up this early on a weekend, so just trying to get our feet under us.
Yeah, you had the talent show last night. I had the lacrosse game. I had to get home, get the notes and stuff ready for today's game, as that was a long night.
Yeah, definitely a very busy week for us.
That goal makes it Burnesh's 12th goal of the season. She has also 6 assists on the season.
That one's popped very far.
First gets away with that one. She's got a 1-on-3. She's going to take this things out, find some white shirts more on the attack. Gets to Brooke Mulchinoff. Swings over to Putman. Putman fakes. This South Jeff defense just swarming the North Stars as Putman hits the deck. Whistle's going to be blown. That should be a push on South Jeff. It's going to go right back to CNS. Putman swings to Sammy Buckets, not a Riley Kosick. Opposite side, Mackenzie Prentice. Slings one way back to Brooke Mulchinoff. She's going to go to her left hand. Brooke's going to fire, deflected by the goalie into the stick. That was a great save there from Jenica McGill, the senior, headed to Clarkson next year for some lacrosse.
Yeah, and McGill, 32 saves on the season. She's done very well. The South Jeff team just doesn't usually give up goals to start with. In their last game, they won 20-2 over Carthage. So not a goalie who you'll see grabbing the ball out of the back of her net a lot.
Yeah, South Jeff only gives up about just under 4 goals a game on the entire season. And that changes to 3 when you go to their league, the Frontier League, which they absolutely run the table in that league.
Yeah, 6-0 in their league. And talking to Jen Williams before the game, she said she loves to travel outside of her actual league and play these larger teams because, frankly, her team can keep up with them. And you see it right now. They're up 1-0.
Yeah, South Jeff, a very competitive, very strong team for just being so in that small of a school district of Class D.
South Jeff is just getting really easy access to the goal, but right now their shots are flying left, right, and up. I mean, they have not really gotten a good shot except for that free shot they got with number 5, Carson Bernesh, and that goal she scored. I mean, it's a 1-0 game, but it looks like they're just dominating possession in this game so far.
Garvin trying to make a move there. Stick checked by Allie Cole, so they'll get a whistle here, get a shot from the 12.
Yeah, and this isn't dangerous. You can get in front of this shot quite easily. Yeah, they won't even shoot there. That's a good choice. Now they'll work from the X.
Going inside, they're going to make a pass. She hits the deck. That ball's loose. Another whistle blown. So it looks like South Jeff is going to get a shot from the 8 here. That'll be number 9, Maddie Barney. She's already committed to Lemoyne for some lacrosse in 2 years as well.
Yeah, and Maddie Barney last year when these teams played at Michael J. Bragnum Stadium, I was on the call, and she was a name we were saying a lot because she had a great game.
And what a deflection there by Nicole Mira. Fight for it looks like that will be Macy Schultz to recover it. Kicks it to Barney.
And Owen, the biggest problem that CNS faces right now when they're on these long defensive possessions is defense is actually more tiring than offense. So right now they're just gassing out their defenders, taking all this time, switching, running to different people, trying to close out shooters. So right now you're just going to see CNS get a lot of energy drawn out of them as South Jeff just takes their time on offense.
And what another great deflection there by Nicole Mira. She's been impressive so far today. As Tori Ionati comes away with the ball for CNS in that ground ball situation. She's coming from behind Barney there. She is. As Tori's going to beat her out in the foot race, she gets by 2 more. She's getting pressured here heavily. She's got to swing this away. That ball, Mulchinoff, bounce pass successful. And Rob, it's any sport really where defense is more tiring than offense, so you have to work to try and predict what they're doing instead of doing what you want to do and making the defense play with you. That's one of the most difficult parts, where if you have a long defensive possession, it's always going to tire you out.
Yeah, now Molchanov has a nice 8-meter here. She's very dangerous from this spot.
I was to say, she's money from the 8 meters. Let's see what she does right down the middle. She fires deflected off the left post, it looked like, as Ella Pauline is there to recuperate that one for CNS. Pauline swings to Riley Kosick. Kosick spins, going back the other way. Gets it to Brooke Molchanov. She's in a fake. Spin. Caught in a double team. The whistle's blown. Looks like she might get another shot here from the 8, a redemption shot.
Yeah, that should be from the 8. I could see him moving it back out to the 12, but it should be an 8-meter. It is an 8-meter, so this is her second one. They're actually going to give it to her in the middle, too, so this is a great spot for her again.
Molchanov, a lethal scorer with 24 goals on the season so far.
Another deflection there by Jenica McGill. Both these goalies tonight proving strong.
That one's floating way over. Oh.
This girl hits the deck there. Whistle's blown.
That foul will give CNS some time to actually get back on defense because they were in a fast break situation for South Jeff.
As Prentice with an amazing stick check to get the ball back for CNS. She's going to go back towards the middle. Gets it to Sammy Buckets.
Sam Klein with a lot of room to work here.
Sam Klein flies one. That's fumbled. Looks like it's going to be recovered by Ella Pauline. Now it's fired to Gabby Putman. Kenzie Prentice now has it.
I'd like to see CNS just settle down here, really start to run their offensive sets, as it looks like they'll start to do now.
Flip pass to Shea Firth. Now to Sam Klein. Gabby Putman. Get it on next to Mackenzie Prentice. Looking for Molchanov inside. She gets hit. Gets inside, fires.
That'll be another 8-meter for her.
Brooke Molchanov is just lighting up the 8-meter right now. She'll eventually get one to fall, as we know she can do.
Yeah, and this isn't on her dominant hand, so this is a tough angle for her. She definitely would like this on the other side of the 8 if she could get it that way, but I'm curious to see how she attacks this one.
Swings it to Putman. Pass fumbled. Putman hits the deck. There's a scramble for it. And that ball was like rolled in like a hockey.
Rolled into the net?
Couldn't tell who they were going to give that goal to. That might be a team effort, but CNS gets their first goal of the afternoon with 14:37 left in the first half.
And we have a weird situation where CNS's offense and South Jeff's defense are both trying to talk things over right next to each other. It will be 1-1 after a little bit of confusion. I didn't even see it go in the back of the net, Owen. I don't know about you.
I mean, Rob, we know how high school girls are. They were probably both just laughing it off each other. Like they're both sides are like, how the heck was that in? We're as confused as probably the entire stadium is right now as how that went in.
Yeah, that's one of those things where you need something like in soccer or hockey where they get the goal line technology, because it will be an own goal. That's what we're getting from our PA announcer, Darryl White.
That's the second own goal we've seen on that side of the field this week. In the West Genesee game, Peter Carter made the save but fumbled it trying to throw it out, and it rolled in for a Wildcat goal on Tuesday. Then the same thing's happened with McGill.
And CNS recovers it again. We've almost seen the tides turn. We started off with South Jeff really dominating possession, and now CNS is getting their fair share of it.
Molchanov has got to find a sea of white here, as that black curtain was right there to stop her after winning the draw.
You know, it seems even though it was an own goal, it seems that goal has really sparked CNS's momentum on this attack.
Oh, Shea Firth fumbled that one. She had a wide open shot there. Whistle's blown, and she might get another shot from the 8 here.
These refs are really not letting these girls play today, so I think this game's going to come down to who can give up the least amount of fouls. We've seen 3 8s for South Jeff and 4 now for CNS.
Shea Firth finds the net there right by the right knee of McGill, so that's a 2-1. This North Star's first goal on the offense, I'd say, of today.
Yeah, and that's the problem with giving up so many 8 meters is at some point, your goalie won't be able to save them all. And Jenica McGill, she's had a great game, but she can't save everything. And that's just the case of it right there. Shea Firth gets her first 8-meter of the day, CNS's fourth 8-meter of the day, and she's finally able to find the back of the net.
Rob, we were talking about this before the game with Johnny Lisi and Drew Madiasker, who are to our right-hand side. We were saying how the girls lacrosse field is much more spread out due to the fact that you can't be as physical because they're not wearing pads. But when we see these SCAC Metro matchups like with Baldwinsville and West Genesee, those games are about as physical as the boys. These officials are playing more to the more textbook girls lacrosse rules and actually calling almost everything that would be called traditionally, I would say.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see whose favor that ends up playing into, because both these teams are very physical teams that we see usually beat teams out of just physicality and hard work and running them off the field. So I'm very curious to see who's able to come out on top if these refs will be so quick to the whistle like they have been so far.
And what ground ball control that was from Gabby Putman. There's a whole scramble for it. Shea Firth looked like Ionati were in there too, but Putman was the one evidently coming away with that.
And Gabby Putnam, a freshman on this team, actually getting her first start today. She's been very impressive so far, having 9 goals on the season and 1 assist. As a freshman on varsity, that's very impressive.
Prentice taking a little breather on the sideline. One person I want to see come on the CNS attack in midfield is Gabby Cicerelli, someone who can't really play in much colder conditions, but today it's pretty warm, so we should be able to see as like to see her get in. Toya Nadi fires one, and that's a goal falling to the ground. That might be an and one in basketball. But
yeah,
Toya
what a
Nadi
great
sends
play
that
that
lead
was.
to 3-1.
A great play right there, just reaching her stick out. She's able to catch that pass from Brooke Molchanoff, and it looks like as she's falling to the ground, she shoots just a nice bounce shot into the back of the net, and now 3-1's your score when, if you watch the first 5 minutes of this game, you'd assume South Jeff would really run away with things here.
That makes it Ionati double digits on goals for the year. That makes it her 10th goal of the season. That puts CNS up 3-1.
And we did see Cicerelli step out there for a little bit, but yeah, like I was saying, with her knee surgery that she has had, she's had 2 of them, one on both knees. When it gets cold with the way the surgery is done, it can almost tend to lock up and make you basically not be able to move like you need to on a varsity lacrosse field in central New York.
Yeah, and with those ACL injuries, with the metal that goes into their knee, it just, when it gets cold, like these other games have been this season, it just freezes those knees up, and it's painful, really.
So today it's a bit warmer. She is dressed. She looks like she's ready to go when Prentice needs her out there on the attack and in the midfield. It looks like might be another ground ball control by Putman, as she is coming away with that one. Rob, I mentioned on an earlier girls lacrosse broadcast this season that CNS really doesn't have that Molly Molchanoff yet that they had last year. Someone who wasn't necessarily in there for the draws, but someone that can go in there and get a ground ball no matter when. And this right now it looks like we found our Molly Molchanoff this year.
Yeah, and it's great to see because Gabby Putnam, like I said earlier, this is her first start of the season, and she's really proving why she should be out there.
Rob, I know her sister went to nationals for running, I'll say. Did she go with her?
I don't believe she went this year, but I know she was definitely on the fringe if she didn't. I mean, that family, just the wheels they have and the endurance, they never get tired.
They can just go.
Yeah, they don't stop running.
Yeah, Kate Putman and Hannah Boyle and a couple other CNS athletes were at the Penn Relays yesterday.
Yeah, I know Lily Caprio was there for jumping. Hannah Boyle was running.
I think Hannah Boyle set a Section 3 record when she was running there.
I believe you're right. Just a lot of very good track stars at CNS right now.
Looks like Central New York might have found a new powerhouse in track and field and cross country with being Cicero-North Syracuse. Like for the long period of time when we were in middle school coming up towards high school, it was Fayetteville Manlius dominating running, even nationally.
Yeah, FM, a nationally ranked program for cross country, so they were definitely the team to always watch out for in these track meets because their distance runners would just blow by everyone. But CNS has definitely started to catch back up in that regard and honestly even take over with the likes of Kate Putnam coming in and setting national records for her running.
Yeah, North Stars have some athletes, and I heard Kate Putman was a pretty solid lacrosse player too, but you evidently can't take her off the track in the spring. Which is one fear I know that a lot of these lacrosse into the program they have about her younger sister, Gabby. Is she going to stick with lacrosse, or is she going to go onto the track and join her sister?
Yeah, and that is a worry to have. Hopefully she does stick with lacrosse because she can still get a little taste of track season with indoor track as McGill makes another nice save there.
Another person who's a 7th grader on the JV roster, Sophia Graham, who went to state with our indoor track team and won. But she's playing lacrosse this year, which I'm sure Dave Klein and the other track coaches would love to have her this year. As here comes South Jeff the other way. This is Macy Schultz. They're going to fire, and that's a goal for Julia Garvin, her first of the day.
And that was a great finish. She just gets a nice pass from Schultz, and she's able to find the bottom corner of the net. Really nothing you can do there if you're Nicole Mira. She's standing right on your crease with a lot of room to work. So just great stuff from the South Jefferson offense just to come out after sustaining a lot of defensive time there. They get a quick, fast break on offense, and they're able to find the back of the net. 3-2 is now your score, and this game is right back to being close.
One thing about our girls lacrosse team that differentiates from the boys is head coach Stephanie Prentice will work almost the entire roster in throughout a game, no matter how close the score is. We see with our boys team, those boys are gassed because they almost never leave the field besides those defensive and attacking midfielders when they rotate off playing on the side of the field. The ball is on. Where Prentice, you'll probably see almost every girl on this roster get in today.
Yeah, and you're completely right. Prentice loves to use every single player on varsity, and she's not the type of coach who will move a girl onto varsity if they're not going to play. She will just keep you down in JV. She's not going to pull up a freshman to sit on the bench, and that's why you see freshmen like Gabby Putnam able to make such a big difference when they come into this team. Also Sophia Neshi, who has 6 goals and 2 assists, because they actually get minutes and they get the time to actually show off what they can do.
Yeah, before we went on air, me and Robert were discussing this. Our JV team already wipes the floor with almost any competition they put on the field against them. But could you imagine if our attacks like Brooke Molchanoff, Mackenzie Prentice, Sophia Neshi, Gabby Putman, all of them, they're technically eligible for JV. If that team was on JV, you'd see a basketball-type score out of CNS.
Yeah, and it's actually crazy how good this team will be when Johnny and Drew are seniors. I mean, you'll have Sophia Neshi, Courtney Jakowski, Gabriella Pauline, Ella Pauline, Mackenzie Prentice, Brooke Molchanoff, Marissa Doty, Gabriella Putnam, all names that are on this varsity team right now that will still be on this team in 2 years.
Yeah, this CNS girls lacrosse program from K through 12 has done an amazing job developing girls. As Molly McGrath taking some speed here, caught into a triple team there, gets over to Tori Inati. They're going to go back.
And sooner or later, your sister, Sienna O'Keefe, will make her way up through the ranks.
Solid defender there at the 7th grade level, playing modified this year for your best friend, Mike McCaffrey.
Sam Klein working very well at the X now.
Quick change up there, Rob.
Just moving on.
Gabby Cicerelli is going to go inside. She's going to fire, and what a shot from Gabby Cicerelli for the 4th North Star goal of the half.
She still got it, ladies and gentlemen. She might not be able to be on the field all the time, but when she is always a sharpshooter. We saw it last season. She would fire goals in from anywhere. Sadly, tore her ACL, but she's back, and when she does get on the field, she can always find the back of the net.
Yeah, and when she gets the positioning, when she rips a shot from that sidearm, it is fast. Her and her younger brother Mason has some of the fastest shots I've seen here at Michael J. Bragman Stadium.
Yeah, and we called baseball on Wednesday, so it just makes me think about exit velocity, and we saw it with some of those hits. The ball would just come flying off the bat, and right there, exit velocity on the Cicerelli family shots is out of this world.
Not only is that CNS's 4th goal of the half, that's also Gabby Cicerelli's 4th goal of the season, making it 4 goals and 0 assists for her all season long.
Putman comes away with that draw, but still struggling to keep it in control as South Jeff sent that black curtain at them. And coming away, it looks like it will be Sophia Watts.
I wish we had a statistician here tonight, Owen, this afternoon, just to see how many of these draws Putnam has actually won, because it feels like the last 5 we have brought her name up having the ball at some point.
Mira Lieberman tries to send one. It's recovered back by Lieberman. She gets over to Molchanoff. Molchanoff heading into the midfield. Swings to Ianati. Now to Prentice. Gets inside to Klein. Sammy Buckets fires a bit wide to the left, but Gabby Cicero-North is there. I'm not going to call her Sam Klein once in this broadcast.
Yeah, I am going to call her Sam Klein. I did hit her with an egg yesterday. If you were at the talent show, you would have seen that. So I'm kind of on her bad side right now. So I think calling her actual name today is my best choice.
Klein's picked up by Widrick. Swings over to Prentice. They were looking for Ionati. One interception there from Sophia Watts. Just a sophomore, but that premonition was impressive.
And this is where South Jeff is at their best. They can just run and gun their offense.
Savannah Hodges has it now. She's picked up by Ava Semino. The UConn commit is only a junior. Going to play some Division I Blacks in the Big East Conference. I'm going to the Big East Conference.
You are going to the Big East Conference. I'm more of an ACC guy myself. Go Hokies and everything.
I think the biggest thing was I get to boo Georgetown once a year, so that's always a solid. Back to Lacrosse here. Schultz looking for a pass. That's a little high. Recovered. Now it is Hodges. Or Bernash, excuse me.
We've seen ever since CNS got that first goal, very little South Jefferson possession on this attack.
Yeah, one thing CNS really struggles with in the Metro and all these teams closer to home is winning draws. Is their draw control is struggling as there's a fire there from Savannah Hodges, the sophomore, netting in the South Jefferson Spartans' third goal of the afternoon.
Yeah, 4-3 your score. This game will be back and forward the whole night. We saw South Jeff take the lead first, and then CNS was able to climb a nice 2-goal lead, and then now South Jeff has brought it back to being a 1-goal game. So these two teams will go back and forward the whole night, and that's how it was the last time they played. Well, both last times they played last year. The game's being decided very tight and really coming down to late in that second half. So I'm very curious to see if one team's able to piece things together and just get some momentum and pull ahead by 3, maybe even 4 goals.
Yes, CNS on the boys and girls side draws for the women and face-offs for the men. It's just they struggle to win, which in lacrosse you can't win a draw or can't win a face-off. It's very unlikely you're going to win a game, as it's very hard just being on defense almost the entirety of a game.
Yeah, Owen, we saw that last night with Jacob Chiz. he won almost every face-off. The North Stars really had to start putting in Kubala a lot in there to win against Chiz.
Yeah, we saw 4 or 5 different North Stars take a face-off last night, which is almost rare to see. Usually each team has their one guy.
Yeah, and that's all we saw from Baldwinsville. Chiz took every face-off, and the North Stars kept rotating through Long and Kubala and Porter and all of those.
And Putnam winning another draw. Really impressive. She has been able to get her stick on everything.
Riley Kosick fires. She hits the deck after that one, but CNS is going to be there. Schaefer trying to scoop it up as she's hit and then retaliates back at Maddie Barney. Whistle's blowing. I think they're going to keep this one with Shea Firth as she took the first hit. Rob, I hate to bring things like this up on the broadcast, but I think this CNS girls lacrosse team might have the worst knees in the entirety of Section 3 lacrosse.
You might be right. We have Gabby Cicero-North tore both her ACLs. Riley Kosick tore an ACL.
And Jenna Pickard had knee surgery.
Just had knee surgery. They definitely struggle in the knee compartment.
What's Prentice doing to them?
It's a lot of running up and down these bleachers, Owen.
A lot of running up and down these bleachers. You are right. Ionati swings to Firth. Now to Cicero-North. She's caught in a sea of black jerseys. It's going to be a whistle blown. It looks like Cicero-North is going to get this one from the 12, I would think.
No, this will be an 8, Owen, and I
honestly
honestly say there's a 90% chance that this one's going in.
Yeah, only pray for McGill here. She fires, and McGill beats you on that 10% and makes the save.
Yeah, and I think what came down to it there is Gabby Cicero-North just held on to it too long, and it gave time for Jenna McGill just to close down. All she had to do was take 2 steps to the front of her crease, and Gabby Cicero-North really had nowhere else to fire that shot.
Yeah, it looks like we have Garvin here on X. Swings over the opposite side. Back to Garvin. Garvin's going to go one-on-one against Maya McGrath. Fires. That's way over the top of the crossbar of the net. It's going to stay with the Spartans.
You know, guys, ever since I said South Jefferson has not had a lot of possession on their attack, there you go. There's another one. They have just been on fire on their attack.
And Julia Garvin nets this into an even game, 4 apiece, with 3.5 minutes to go in this first half.
And, you know, Julia Garvin coming in as South Jeff's second highest goal scorer, but she does lead the team in assists, 24 goals, 22 assists coming into this game. She's been very solid offensively. I think that might be a first half hat trick for her.
You know, Bernash has 1. She has at least 2. Drew, do you know who has that other goal?
I do not. I do have CNS's goals, though.
Either way, though, Garvin's been very impressive. Number 12, definitely a number CNS has to find a solution for.
You can see why I said into Wingate next year to play some Division I Lax down in North Carolina.
Actually, 2 South Jeff players going to Wingate, I believe.
Yeah, the defensive player, number 3, Ireland Morja. This South Jeff team, looking at it's pretty young. They have a good amount of sophomores on the roster that we're seeing on the field.
Yeah, and I think this could be a really continued rivalry throughout the rest of our 2 years here at CNS for me and Johnny.
And Putnam wins another draw.
It's Molchanoff trying to find a white shirt. She gets to swing this ball too. Makes a move, goes back to her left. Finds Prentice inside. She fires, gets the goalie to step up, and Mackenzie Prentice takes that North Star lead right back.
That was amazing stuff right there from Brooke Molchanoff, just holding the ball for so long. All the South Jeff defenders take a step up, and it just leaves Prentice standing at the top of the crease. She catches it. McGill comes out, and all Prentice has to do is roll it right under her. 5-4 is your score. Just beautiful play from 2 of the really young players on the CNS team.
Yeah, those 2 are going to be a dynamic duo. Sorry to cut you off, Drew, for the rest of this season and 2 more years after that.
And something I've seen a lot from CNS tonight, there's a lot of individual scoring here. No one is scoring 3 goals in the first half or scoring 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 of the goals. It's all coming from individual players. 1 from Ionati, Firth, Cicerelli, and Prentice, and 1 going in off McGill.
As Putman wins another one, finds a body, and that's going to go back to the North Star way. She's unstoppable right now.
Yeah, we talked about how this North Stars program, guys and girls, struggles to win their face-offs / draws, but Putnam has found she's cracked the code. She's been winning almost all of them.
And maybe we can see how that translates to the league play next week when they get back into that. As a week from today is actually girls' senior day, if you want to call it that, against Irondequoit.
Yeah, on Tuesday we'll be on the call, so make sure to tune into the North Star Network. 7 p.m. is when that first draw goes.
A week from today is senior day. Next Saturday.
Is it next Saturday? Then what's Tuesday? Oh, Tuesday's teacher appreciation for the girls lacrosse. We will be here for that game as well.
If Sam Klein doesn't pick Joey, then we're going to have a talk.
Sam Klein is not picking Joey.
It's going to probably be Melissa Palmisano.
It is Mrs. Palmisano.
I'd pick Joey if I had a chance.
I'd probably pick Palmisano.
I'm shocked. As Molchanoff fires there, and now North Stars lead back up to 2 with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, and I think, like I said earlier, this game has really been told through penalties. South Jeff, most of their goals coming from actual open play, but CNS really dominating on these 8 meters. They draw fouls, and this is where the large majority of their goals has come from. Almost half of their goals has come from 8 meters. So if South Jeff can just eliminate all of these penalties going against them, it's an even game, or even South Jeff wins this game.
Barney and Putman in there for the draw.
And you know, Rob, you said that earlier in this game, too. You said whoever draws the most penalties or fouls or gets those free shots from the 8, they're going to win this game. And it looks like CNS has drawn most of them, and they're winning this game by 2 right now.
Yeah, and the other thing, though, is South Jeff, I wish there was a way we could keep track of time of possession or time spent on each side of the field. CNS has probably spent the last of these 23 minutes. They probably have at least 14 of them on the offensive side of their field.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy, Owen, because for the first 6 minutes of this game, we saw South Jefferson control all of the ball.
Yeah, the girls lacrosse team has been on a pretty decent road trip, I would say, like a couple of consecutive road games. We haven't seen them here at Pregame in a while. So maybe Putman Might have been Putman's first game as being that main person for the draws for the Lady North Stars. Maybe she was a little nervous in the first little bit, and now she's ready and she's dialed in.
Dialed in indeed.
That was our word Tuesday. That's going to stick with our word for the rest of the season, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, that was really the case of the game Tuesday, too. We made it our word. CNS and West Jenny had to be dialed in, and West Jenny was, CNS wasn't, and that's how the scoreline reflected.
Yeah. Another defensive stand there from the Spartans after giving up 2 straight goals. So now here comes Watts. Excuse me, looked like Watts had it. Still McGill just waiting to find someone. This is actually opposite of what we saw South Jeff doing. Originally, if McGill got a save or a stop, she would just fling that ball immediately to another Spartan, but now they took their time. Maybe they're going to try and get a more set-up attack. To go opposite side of the field, get it into Garvin. She's going to fire. And that was another deflection there. Not even Colmira. She's been absolutely solid tonight is the way I'd put it.
Yeah, and you know what? I think McGill holding the ball for so long actually worked out in South Jeff's favor because they were able to just, once they got it in play, they advanced their offense very quickly and just rattled that one off the crossbar.
Now Barney from the 8. She's going to fire. That one bounces off the ground into the crossbar.
The post is a goalie's best friend, and that is being proven in these last 2 possessions.
And that's another shot there. Looks like it was not Garvin again. That was number 20, Jordan Battalato. For the, I think it's her first goal tonight. But a lot of these teams don't have one person just dotting up the net on the attack.
Yeah, you're completely right. They're really spreading out their scoring. The only main name that has done a large majority of scoring is Garvin. I think she has either 2 or 3. As CNS now has 16 seconds to hopefully hold their lead at 1 goal going into half. This team really just, both teams going back and forward as it's Putnam and number 9, Maddie Barney, for the draw.
Something I've also noticed from South Jefferson is that as soon as they get on the attack, they're not spending a lot of time with possession because they're just scoring right off their attack with a lot of ease. I've noticed it doesn't take long for them to get past CNS's defense and put one in the net.
And there's Putman again, Rob. They've
Yeah,
got
dude,
8 seconds.
she's everywhere.
She's going to get to Molchanoff. Molchanoff's going to get through one. She's got 3 seconds. Molchanoff has to fire. She's going to fire. That one's deflected off a stick, and that's horn's going to sound out. As after the first half, CNS is leading 6-5 on the visiting Spartans.
Yeah, and Owen, I really do think this game comes down to getting rid of these penalties. Both teams giving up a lot of 8 meters, and South Jeff giving up more than CNS, so that's why you see the score reflect 6-5. If you can just eliminate these easy penalties to get rid of, this game, it's still going to be close, but whichever team can do a better job of it, it's going to end up winning.
I think the MVP of today's game so far is the goalpost.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We've seen 3 or 4 shots rattle off each goalie's goalpost already tonight.
Yeah, and then after that, Nicole Meara has been doing a great job. She's seen a ton of shots tonight. Like 3 or 4 of them, like we said, have gone off the post. But there's still many more that she is not letting her goal, deflecting it, not just making saves, but deflecting it with her stick, doing a great job. Keep that ball out of her presence.
And likewise with McGill, she's made a ton of very large saves that in really any other game we'd see go in the back of the net. So both goalies standing on their heads in net today. And honestly, that's probably why we see such a low-scoring first half.
Yeah, that's another thing. Another thing, too, with that is that CNS is really working teamwork in with this game, something we don't really see often. They're working around, getting everyone sharing the wealth.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more of offensive sets, I'd say. You know, we see Brooke Molchanoff start things off about 20 yards away from the goal, and that's when you see all of their attackers really rotating, moving. It's quick passes, getting the defense to shift, and that's how they're finding goals like we saw with Mackenzie Prentice right in front of the crease.
Yeah, CNS doing a great job on the attack. And then South Jeff, both teams are playing very well today. They're both just trying to outdo each other. These teams are almost even, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny to see the comparison because South Jeff, a really run-and-gun type offense, they play very quickly. They just fly up the field. It's almost like a fast break type offense. They get a defensive stop and they go. Whereas CNS, they don't necessarily go. They get into their offensive half, and they like to just slow things down and really calculate exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, we saw last year, most games that CNS won, there wasn't a lot of goals scored unless the competition wasn't there. A lot of the tight games, there wasn't a lot of goal scorers because Prentice likes to take things slow and immediately break you down and work through her offense that she wants her team to run. And it obviously worked last year.
Yeah, and it's working right now. They are up by 1. They've had a rough start to the season, 5-4 coming in. But even still, they've played a lot of very tough competition. They've already played Beeville twice, and we said it before the broadcast. Beeville's probably winning the state for New York. They are
Both sides.
Yeah, they are just impressive all around. Multiple D1 commits, just a crazy team this year. This is really Beeville's year. But either way, CNS just stringing together decent games against them. So both teams tonight just doing a great job at competing, really.
Yeah, before we close out our first half, Drew, you have anything to add? Drew or Johnny, really?
Well, I would just like to say again, like I said, there's a lot of teamwork happening from the CNS offense that's really, really working well. I mean, 1 goal from Ionati first, Cicerelli, Prentice, and Molchanoff. They're really working well together. There's no individual effort out here, and it's proving on the scoreboard. They're running a tight game against South Jefferson, who is a really tough team to beat. They're really battling them. It's really a close game. I think this is the closest lacrosse game we've seen all year.
And we knew coming into this it would be a close game in both halves between the North Stars and the Spartans, and it has definitely been close in the first half. Both teams have come to play, but I really think the MVP is the draw control. Like you guys have been saying throughout the broadcast, the draw control has been the key thing for the North Stars, and that's why they're winning 6-5 at halftime.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. The draw control from Putman has been, besides the goalpost, the MVP of this game.
Yeah, Gabby Putnam coming in and just really just getting constant possession for CNS has worked out in their favor very well.
Yeah, and while it's Futures Night or Futures Day, again, it's usually Futures Night, it's Futures Day today. At a weekend game. We're going to close out the first half. We'll be right back on from the North Star Network for the second half of this intense matchup. And we are back here live on the North Star Network for the second half. Myself, Robert Bateman, and Johnny Lee Tremendous transition over to camera, get rotating in the young talent we have. Speaking of young talent, Gabby Putman. Name was said a lot. She's already in there for the draw. Let's see if she can beat Barney once again on this one.
Oh, and I'd be shocked if they take her out at all on draws, as she almost gets her stick on that one. There's a foul, and it's going CNS's way, so she basically wins at that time anyway.
I think that's South Jeff's problem. They're so physical where they're struggling to play against the way these officials want to officiate the game. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and I think you're completely right. With two teams that do play very physical, they're going to come in and play physical. We talked to Coach Jen Williams before the game, and she mentioned how this is a pretty fierce rivalry that they've built because they play each other so often, and it's always a close game. So both these teams know they have to play physical, but these refs just don't want a physical game.
Yeah, and at halftime, I was chit-chatting with Ari Lieberman and Jason Putman, two fathers of daughters on this team, and they said that she's arguably probably the best coach in the entirety of Section 3 girls lacrosse.
Jen Williams?
Yes. Which, from what they can do with being just the Class D size she has to work with, they produce.
Yeah, and you're really right. They do produce.
But sometimes when you go Class A, things get difficult. It's Ella Pauline looking for Molchanoff. That one is intercepted there by Carson Bernash.
And, yeah, Jen Williams really is just a class act. When we talked to her before the game, just a really friendly person overall. Had a lot of great things to say about a lot of the teams around this area. So just a great conversation we did have with her. And she gets her team in great positions. I mean, the competition they've played is outstanding this year.
Yeah, and I'm sure if we didn't have these headsets on our heads, we would hear her throughout the entirety of this game and be able to tell that it is her coaching this game.
South Jeff's only loss is to West Jenny, so you can tell that there is some good competition in this section, and that when they come down to the Syracuse area, they're going to face some tough competition.
Yeah, and I brought it up on last night's broadcast, but between the SCAC Metro and the Empire League, it is probably the best league in the entirety of the New York and even like the Northeast. I would say the Empire and the Metro, the two best leagues, besides when you go downstate to Long Island. This is the best lacrosse you will see until you probably hit that Maryland, Virginia area.
Yeah, and Nicole Mira, another amazing save. She's had herself a great game as Sam Klein's attacking now.
She gets checked from behind, lose control of the ball. She's going to try and keep it with it. It's a fight for her, and she gets boxed out there by Weiss Widrick to bring the Spartans back in possession of the ball. So that ball is caught there by Ireland Morja. Now to Bernash. Bernash picked up here by Brooke Molchanoff.
We saw at the end of the last half of the first half for the North Stars that they were just absolutely controlling the offense. They got to keep controlling the offense if they want to win this game.
Now here's South Jeff going with a bit of an attack here. They're going to swing to Bernash. Bernash pressured by Cole. They're going to blow the whistle on Allie Cole. So Bernash should get
That'll be a 12
here
meter.
at the 12, yeah. Hodges has it now.
And Owen, just like we saw in the start of that first half, South Jeff dominated possession for a solid 6 minutes until things switched to CNS's favor, and we're seeing it again in the second half. So maybe South Jeff can keep it going like this as they get a nice 8 meter here. But I'm very curious to see if we see the tide turn again.
Yeah, and if they didn't get that foul on the 8 meter, that was about a South Jeff goal because they had the CNS defense rotate, and they're going to elect to go back out and get the offense moving. As maybe Jen Williams wants to have that offense just move instead of just taking a quick shot from the 8. As Bernash hit to the ground a little hard there, so it looks like she'll get another attempt from the 8. Now that she's down more towards the center, we might see Bernash rip one here.
Yeah, you can't pass on a center 8 like this. You really have the whole goal to work with.
Bernash fires. It's a little over the crossbar. It's going to stick with the Spartans.
And they elect to go really quick on this one.
As Maddie Barney gets through, lose control of the ball. Whistle blown again as now looks like Maybe just it's this side.
It might be. I said it before. Fouls has really just been the name of this game. So many penalties being handed out to different players.
Now Maddie Barney from about just right of the center. She's going to swing to Bernash.
I'm very curious as to why they're passing on all these 8 meters. You know, usually a center 8 meter like this you have to shoot, but they've elected to pass on the past 2 8 meters.
Maybe they'd rather just try and set up the offense. They're going to rip one. That's over the goal again. That was Macy Schultz taking that shot.
And Ella Pauline fast enough, so now it's CNS's ball. And South Jeff kind of just wasted a 6-minute offensive possession, coming away with nothing from it.
I mean, I wouldn't say wasted. They got a lot of shots at Mira, and that CNS defense did a great job of protecting Mira and the goal, of just not letting anything through. As now here comes the offense the other way. Mira Lieberman heading towards midfield. Swings the opposite side to Tori Iannotti. Iannotti picked up into a double team. It's going to go back to Maya McGrath. Finds that ball unsuccessful into Pauline's stick, and that's going to find some black shirts and stick with him. Prentice going for a quick check there. It was over the head, so it's going to whistle blow and go back to the Spartans.
The North Stars really needed that offensive possession there. You can't be happy that you gave that ball right back to South Jeff.
They're going to get the ball again. Molly McGrath.
She's a name we haven't said a lot tonight, but she's probably the best defender on this CNS team. She just really hasn't come up in play, but right there she makes a great stop.
They get it to Brooke Molchanoff. She's picked up just around, say, the 10-yard line, 10 yards out from the goal. Now she's taking things out, maybe things a bit slower. Finding Prentice closer to the goal. She's going to go inside, rip one with her left hand. That's blocked by McGill. Another save there from the goalie in this game.
And we're about to see Sophia Neshi and Marissa Doty check in for the first time this game. I'm curious to see who comes out and where the two of them will piece themselves in.
I would assume you give someone in the midfield a break, maybe Mira Lieberman. I would doubt you take Putman out unless another goal is going to be scored quickly. You don't know what you're going to see here. Maybe give Iannotti a rest. You never really know with head coach Stephanie Prentice who she's going to take off the field.
Yeah, and that's one thing I really do admire about Prentice is she will always take off the player who she thinks needs to be taken off. She won't take into account, oh, this player has this many goals this season. This is the impact they bring to the team. If they're not having a good game, she's not going to take out a player who's playing well for a player that in the past has played well but just isn't having a great game.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not doing your part on the field, no matter who you are, Prentice will take you off. She could have the reincarnation of Casey Powell and a female and still take them off if they're not having a good game.
I remember talking to Coach Stephanie Prentice in the first game of the season, my first interview with her, and I asked her, are there any players you want to spotlight? And she said no, because we're a team and a unit. That's the way that she runs this team, and that's very admirable for a high school coach.
Yeah, I remember when we were first coming into girls lacrosse last year. It was Prentice's first year actually coaching because she got hired during the COVID year. And where we really talked to her, she never would mention one person to really look out for, and if she did, she would mention multiple names. We eventually realized she's just listing off. If you ask her about defense, she's listing off every defender on the roster. As that's how she coaches, and that's why they won the sectional title last year and probably would have went deeper if they had the opportunity.
Yeah, and once again, we see South Jeff just pass on the 8-meter. I'd like to see him at least shoot one or two. You have to just test Mira at some point.
I think Prentice's goal was the last time the Cicero-North Syracuse team, I want to say the last time we won the section when she was a player, and they also won states that year too. When Prentice was a player, now she's a coach, and she wants a repeat of that legacy that CNS Girls Lacrosse once held over Section 3 and Class A in the state of New York.
Yeah, and Owen, it's actually kind of surprising to me that CNS hasn't won more sectional titles in lacrosse because before last year, the last time they had won a sectional title was when Prentice was actually a player, which I don't want to age her, but that was some time ago. And it's kind of surprising to me because you have other, like Coach Bree Starr out there. she was a D1 goalie for Syracuse, which nationally is
one
always
of the best teams in the nation for
exactly
men's
so
and women's lacrosse.
you get a player that's a D1 goalie for one of the best schools out there, and she never won a sectional title for girls lacrosse.
Yeah, a lot of things we've seen with this girls lacrosse program over the last 10 or so years, as they have all the right players, I'd almost say at the wrong time. Like I almost would say, if you had a player like Bree Starr, like what either years before, little years after herself, they'd have been pretty solid. But now, just that's what you see with a lot of high school. As South Jeff rips in a goal. That was number 4, Savannah Hodges. I think that's her first of the afternoon.
I think you would be right. That would be your 21st goal on the season. Been waiting for her to just take a shot. Really, we've been waiting for South Jeff to just take a shot in general. They've dominated for about 9 minutes of possession here, and no goals to come from it until just now.
Yeah, and going back to what I was saying, the thing with high school that you see a lot of is that. Here, give us 1 second. Sorry about that. Little camera difficulties here, but Barney and Putman in there. Putman easily wins that one. Sienna's attack coming the other way now. Putman has it in her stick. Looks like she might go all the way here. Gabby Putman goes all the way inside. Is going to take things back out. Swings over to Sophia Neshi. Gets Mackenzie Prentice inside. Prentice fires right into the net of Jenica McGill.
McGill's looked solid throughout this game. You guys were saying in the first half, Jenica McGill for South Jeff really doesn't get a lot of time to play because they keep it on one side of the field. But she's been playing solid with the amount of shots that the North Stars have gotten this afternoon.
Macy Schultz getting pressured by Gabby Cicerelli. No, she can't cross there. And South Jeff's going to set up that offense that we've seen, that Jen Williams, I'm sure, wants them to run. And that's how they're going to try and win this game, as they've netted up at 6-6. I'd say relatively quiet second half, as Garvin right there, Hodges gets another goal in as she's really taking over second half attack for the Spartans.
Yeah, and 7-6 is now your score. CNS still scoreless in this second half, and we are almost 9 minutes played. Or, excuse me, 11 minutes played. CNS, I think that's a timeout right there, waiting for confirmation.
Yeah.
And it is a timeout for CNS.
What back-to-back goals there relatively quickly Hodges got is she went in, she took the exact same shot 2 times in a row, and Prentice does not want to give up the same shot. No one doesn't want to give up the same shot to the same girl 2 times in a row. That looked like Hodges' shot that she'll always want to take. So Prentice, I'm sure, is going to talk things over and say, don't give up that shot again, basically.
Especially since we haven't seen CNS really have a sustained attack yet. With 11 minutes down, 14 minutes left to go, and you just gave up 2 goals. They're down 2-0 in this half, down 1 in the game. You're going to want to talk things over, clean things up, because South Jeff has thrown a clearly different look at them, really just taking their time on offense, not shooting until it's the perfect shot, and it's worked for them. So CNS needs to figure out how they're going to switch up their defensive tactics to that. That way they can get back into this game and, not only defend more, but also score more.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
South Jeff definitely giving CNS the competition midway through this second half that they knew that they would get. Each team won on the road last year. This is their only matchup this season, but these 2 teams are a hot rivalry now. These 2 teams compete with each other, and I think they're pretty much closely the same style of play.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's one thing coaches love to build, because obviously it's not going to continue with players, but over a period of time, I'm sure Jen Williams and Stephanie Prentice are going to be friendly off the field. When it comes on the field, they're going to be rivals, like a Syracuse-Duke or Syracuse-Georgetown-Duke-Carolina type thing. But I'm sure they're going to want to continue to play each other as the best thing like we saw was this girls basketball team playing out of league, playing out of section even, sometimes even out of state, is what brings you the competition that prepares you for the sectional and even state playoffs later on in the season.
Yeah, and it's like they say, iron sharpens iron, and it's always best when the iron you're sharpening yourself with isn't in your section. So that definitely helps out not having to face South Jeff in their actual league. And I think it's kind of crazy. There's only been 3 lead changes tonight, but this game has been very back and forward.
Yeah, exactly. Not many lead changes, but many ties. Like, how many different times do you think the score has changed from, like, a CNS 1-goal lead to a South Jeff tie?
Well, so that's the thing. There's only been 2 ties. That's the crazy part, too. It's been CNS was down, and then they got up, and they stayed up, but South Jeff was always there with them, and now South Jeff able to pull ahead. So I'm curious to see CNS's responses. I honestly think Gabby Putnam's just winning this. At this point, CNS is just winning draws.
She flung it right to the perfect spot for Molchanoff to be there. Ball poked out of Molchanoff's stick by Schultz. Putnam going to step off. Cicero-North is going to step on. Switching a Gabby for a Gabby.
Oh, and I'd be surprised if we don't see Gabby Putnam on every draw for CNS.
For the rest of the year.
Yeah, for the rest of the year, in the near future. Everything she's done today has been extremely impressive.
The only game you might see someone different is when they take on FM, as Ava Angelo is like a 6'3" person in there for the center for the draw for the Hornets. Where with Putnam being just a young freshman, not having much height to her just yet, it'd be difficult for her, I'd say, to go against Angelo in the center.
Yeah, and usually when they play FM, you see them throw Tori Ionati in there, who stands almost at like 6'2". She is a very tall human being, so they love to throw her in there because she can actually get up and grab that ball out of the air.
Yeah, when you see taller talent and taller competition coming into the center for the draw, you'll see just Molchanoff and Ionati. But with someone like Barney, they're able to throw in Putman, and she has the skills to do it. Which that's one thing I'm sure Prentice would like, I'd say, if they did a face-off like guys did. Because with face-off, it doesn't matter your size. Jake Chiv's a relatively small kid for Beeville, but he dominates the face-offs.
Yeah, and the same with Tanner Lawn. I mean, the kid's only like 5'6", but for some reason, he's very strong on face-offs.
Hodges pass there, unsuccessful to Schultz. It's able to be recovered by Bernash. Gets it over to Schultz, and a whistle's blown. Looks like they might get a shot here from the 8. North Stars have got to win a draw, but then they're winning the draws. They just haven't been able to translate that in the midfield to get it into the attack.
And that's the thing. You'd think there'd be a shot from the 8, but we've seen them pass on the last 4.
Schultz. She's going to take this one, gets hit in the head, so she'll get another attempt here from the 8.
That was a physical play by the North Stars. I could hear that from up here. Good thing that she's okay. As South Jeff is going to get another, looks like 8-meter, guys.
Yeah, it will be an 8-meter, and this is now an even better spot for her. She has more of an angle to shoot than she did before.
I wouldn't be surprised if she kicks to that right wing here. No, she's going to take this one herself. She's hit again. North Stars are crashing almost, I wouldn't say too early, but too quickly and too physically to stop Watts. Instead of trying to beat her off their feet and step in front of her, now she's going to swing back into Barney. Now it's going back to Bernash. Now inside to Garvin. Pass fumbled. They got to get this here, and it looks like Mackenzie Prentice came away with that one. That was a great stand by CNS.
Yeah, and, you know, those extra penalties, you don't want to see those, but in the end of the day, it made South Jeff pass out of another 8-meter shot that they just haven't decided to take recently.
As Doty steps on the field for the Lady North Stars, as Prentice is going to swing to Molly McGrath. It looks like, yep. McGrath's taking this one all the way down on her feet. Picked up by Barney. She gets by Barney now.
It's a very nice move just to cut out and come back in. Now Neshi can work from the X.
Swings to Molchanoff. Molchanoff's going to go back opposite side. Little flip pass to Neshi. Now she's going to go inside. She's going to rip one. That ball's deflected. And then stick a Maddie Barney. Whistle's blown. Looks like they're going to give this to CNS. I don't know if they're. Looks like they're going to give them to him on the 12.
Yeah, it will be a 12. Prentice to start things off.
Now, this is Gabby Cicero-North. I think Gabby could rip one from the 12, and it'd have the velocity to get into the goal. But Prentice is going to elect to go back outside to Pauline. Now
Yeah, and
Molchanov.
Owen, we've actually seen Gabby Ciccarelli fire him from 20 yards out and have him go in. So from her, even a foul at the 12. Oh, my God, that one makes its way in. Brooke Molchanov with a beautiful finish there. We have a tie game just like that.
Yeah, Molchanov impressive. I didn't realize we were under 10 minutes already. Molchanov, that was a much-needed goal from CNS and Brooke Molchanov to nut this game back up, like you just said, 7-7.
And honestly, caught us by surprise. That didn't look like a shooting angle at all, but she's able to just sneak that one into the back of the net. Caught Jenna McGill by surprise, caught us by surprise. Really, everyone caught by surprise. Even the fans had a delayed reaction to it.
Prentice talking things over on the sideline with Tori and Mackenzie, trying to see maybe work things a little bit better when it comes, because CNS has been really solid 20 yards in and almost, I'd say, 20 yards back on the field, but they're struggling between the two 20s, I'd say.
And Owen, we mentioned how we're going golfing later. I'm willing to put a stroke on CNS coming away with this draw and Gabby Putnam winning it.
Okay. I mean, I won't need the stroke against you, but I'll take it.
Hey, man, I've been working. Been going to the range. Oh, man. That's not what I wanted to
After
see.
I heard
All
what
right.
happened, after what happened with your first outing, I don't know if I'm.
You know, when you haven't golfed in a year and you go out for the first time, you're going to expect yourself to be a little rusty. Shooting well over par.
Just a tad.
Just a tad bit.
You might have made the cut.
My money's on Owen to win later, just for the record.
Oh, we'll keep score, and I'll send that scorecard in.
I have heard Owen is famous for shaving strokes, so just want to make sure that's known.
Whoa. We'll keep this one nice, fair, and square.
It was good to see Molchanov get that goal earlier. We really hadn't said her name much in this game, but Brooke Molchanov is definitely, in any game the North Stars play, a player to watch for.
Schultz hits the deck hard there.
Yeah, she gets hacked on that one.
Yeah, and one thing I'm really liking with the CNS team today, with the attack side at least, we haven't said much of one name, which a lot of the times we've seen past years with CNS Girls Lacrosse, you're almost saying just the same one or two names throughout the entirety of the game with goal scoring, assisting, and just well over attack play. But today we're saying almost every name on the attack, which is what I'm sure Prentice would love to hear.
Yeah, and once again, South Jeff passes on an 8-meter shot. I'd just like to know what the thought process is, because they're just backing their offense out. But if you shoot on it and miss, usually you have a girl who's close enough to the back of the zone to keep the ball in your favor.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
I think part of it just comes down to the fact that we don't know lacrosse very well. I mean, we've only been watching the sport for 2 years. That one's fired off the post.
And our MVP, Rob,
The
making
post.
another play.
And another penalty, it looks like. I'd assume a 12. Nope, it's going to be an 8.
South Jeff definitely shouldn't pass on this one.
I think they're going to fire here. And she will, and that's
Cole
deflected by
Mira.
the
Wow.
Cole Mira.
Another brilliant save. She is playing out of her mind today. Both goalies are having really great games.
I mean, yeah, you're under 15 total points, just 7 minutes left. Something very unlikely you see out of an SCIC Metro team is Allie Cole makes an impressive spin there, goes opposite side to Brooke Molchanov. She's sprinting up the center. Brooke's now going to take things slow, a little slower outside the 12. It's Barney gets the check from behind, and Molchanov hits her to the deck.
That's going to be a yellow card.
She has to take a step off the field here, as Molchanov had no idea Barney was coming up behind her and just sort of reacted like any human being would when someone just comes up and hits you from behind.
How long does she sit on that?
Definitely not what you want if you're the North Stars. That's the last thing you would want, to have Brooke Molchanov, who just is hot after scoring that goal.
Yeah, now we are a lady down, Rob. You got confirmation how long she is. That
Lady
penalty
down
will last.
for 2 minutes, which when you're only sitting at 7 minutes left in the game, that's very crucial.
That is very crucial. You almost have to hope. I don't know what position the North Stars want to be in, where they want the ball for these next 2 minutes.
Well, you want to hope that you can get an offensive possession, really. Although it hurts you on the fact that they can double team every single person who touches the ball, at least you're not facing shots on goal.
And that's another whistle blown. The officials, looks like South Jeff will get a shot from the 8. Maybe now, with one last white shirt there on defense, they might attack on this 8-meter shot. As Schultz is just going to let
She doesn't even pass. She just backs that one right out. Wow.
One person I really like today for the Spartans is Maddie Barney. She's done a great job trying to attempt to beat Putman in the center for the draws, but also doing a great job on the offensive and defensive ends. Just playing physical and not getting called for too much with the whistle.
Yeah, Owen, I mentioned her name to you before the game when I called this team's game against CNS last year. I mentioned that she had a really nice game against us. Also, I mentioned Julia Garvin, who was also one of the standout players the last time these two teams played. As Schultz gets a goal there, now it's 8-7. We will see Molchanov take the field again.
Just shortly. I'd say she's got about half a minute left.
Less than half a minute. It might be just about 40 seconds, yeah.
As she keeps looking back at Mr. McGrath, who's keeping time for her when she can go back.
Yeah, and that yellow card really did hurt them there.
That's something very rare we see with this CNS team.
A yellow card? Yeah, you're right. And we really rarely see this many penalties on their end, but especially in the second half, it's picked up even more.
We got a happy whistle today, I think.
Yeah, we definitely do. And both teams have felt the effects, and surprisingly, it's really only been on this away team's side.
Yeah, the side facing the parking lot in Route 31 is the side, and facing the school too. The side that's not facing an open field is just is where the happy whistle has been, I'd say.
And now for the draw, CNS. This is probably the most important draw they've had. They need to get the ball here.
Yeah, I think you got to just win this draw and control it for 40 seconds so that you can just wait till Molchanov comes back on the field and you're back in position. That draw will be controlled by Firth. She takes a hard hit to the side, and it's going to be just CNS ball. Ianati, not Jenny, wow. South Jeff is swarming. The official's going to blow his whistle. Tell the ladies to tone it down, it looks like. Plain and simple is what he's saying.
Yeah, that was some stiff defense by the South Jeff Spartans on that last play.
As Ianati has it now. Whistle blown again. As now Molchanov's able to go back on. Yeah, it was right about 30-ish seconds, like I said. Now this is the position they'd like. They got 5 minutes left. They're down 1. Mackenzie Prentice has it right behind the goal. She's going to swing to Brooke Molchanov.
And CNS doesn't necessarily need to score quickly here. All they need to do is score. They have 5 minutes, so it's a lot of time. So they're not necessarily in a rush. They're just looking for the best look possible to get one into the back of the net.
And Rob, this is a team who we've seen last year who can play in OT. They went to OT many times this year. It's not like they'll be unfamiliar territory if they score a goal here and then both sides just lock up for the next 3, 4 or so minutes.
Oh, and I will say, though, the one time I believe they did lose in OT last year was against South Jeff.
See, I was not here for that game. You were the only one here.
I was the only one here. It was a very lonely call as the post, our MVP, makes another great stop.
They did win the section title against Beeville last year in overtime, so we know they can win and they can look good in overtime.
I think CNS
they also won here against Liverpool in sectionals in overtime.
I think they beat Jenny in overtime too.
I believe you're right. I think all of their games went to overtime and they won all of them. So a team that definitely does well in overtime, but you got to keep in mind this South Jeff team is one of those teams that's just different than other squads.
Yeah, I think this is the one team I would not want to play in overtime.
Yeah, they're just a team full of energy and fight, really.
Laura Star is being outscored 3-1 in this half as that ball finds the stick of Carson Bernash. Now the Spartans going to go the other way with 3.5 left.
And this spells trouble for CNS.
As Bernash hits the deck there, no whistle.
And there it goes.
This is Schultz hits the deck. As North Stars need a stop here with about 3 minutes going. As you see Barney there take a peek back at the scoreboard to see how much time is left.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of keep away for at least a minute or two here.
As South Jeff's going to take a timeout. And we're actually going to take a quick breather as well. We'll be right back with these under 3 minutes. And we are back after that brief timeout break of the North Star Spartans matchup. As South Jeff is going to start with the possession here. Savannah Hodge is the one to do it.
And we actually see Nicole Mira not in net. They pull the goalie. Very risky.
And they want to get a quick just riding corner here. As unsuccessful as Hodge is now. Going to take, yeah, because they know they're going to stall. They got to bring a double team to every possession there is.
The only problem is that goal is completely wide open. All you need is something near it.
As Widrick has it here. Mira's going to step in. Great transition there from Mira. I think they're just going to man switch Mira with the person on X.
Yeah, and that's probably smart. But right now, Mira Lieberman's
the
actually
wrong Mira's at the goal. Whistle's blown to stay with South Jeff. As they just need to get a stop here. They need to get something rolling on offense. I just don't know what they can do.
Ball pops out, but a whistle is called.
As for this is the time, Mackenzie Prentice. And even I'm sure Jen Williams would hope that the officials let him be a little more physical because both these coaches know their girls can take it.
And this is a poor decision. Going back to your defense, they can go backwards, but the problem is now the attackers for CNS can actually help on the defensive end.
They got to get a low check. Ball poked loose there, and they're going to blow the whistle. I don't know about
that one. It's a little late.
Yeah, well, we can hear in the stand saying late whistle, and that was below the waist even. But you know when you get like sort of above the belly area is when whistle's going to be blown for a check. But that one, her stick was almost at her feet. As South Jeff, I think, just wants to make the midfield move.
Yeah, and I think that's smart, especially because right now they're just draining clock very well, and the double team goes away. Mira still guarding that X.
South Jeff's is swinging it around here. It's almost under a minute. They're taking things almost extra slow here.
North Stars definitely need a quick stop on South Jeff.
As Nicole Mira's way out now. As they're in a triple team, they got to force her out of bounds here, and they're going to blow the whistle. Saved by the whistle instead of the bell.
Well, the only problem is the clock still runs when that whistle blows.
I was saying South Jeff saved by the whistle.
Gotcha. Makes sense. And they're going to just go backwards. Yup.
In this entire second half, CNS has not been saved by a whistle at all.
No, I don't think they've even had a whistle. And here it goes, timeout.
Spartans going to talk things over again as we're under a minute, 47.6 seconds left in this contest. As CNS needs to get a quick shot or quick movement, I'd say, and they got a timeout left. I just don't know how much they can really do with 47 seconds, and that's not even saying they're getting the ball right away.
Yeah, that's the thing, Owen. They don't get the ball right away, so 47 seconds is more like 30 seconds to get the ball back and 15 to hopefully get a shot off. It's going to come down to the wire. It really just comes down to how quickly can CNS get the ball if they're able to.
I think Jen Williams doesn't even I don't even think if they have the open shot, Jen Williams will take it because she knows Putman's been killing the draws. So I think scoring a goal almost puts you at a disadvantage.
I don't know about that. If they score a goal, they're up 2 with, 30 seconds left?
Not a disadvantage, but in the 3 to 1 minute, I would say it would have been a disadvantage.
Yeah, in the 3 to 1, you're right. But with
now
47, now a goal.
Now you might see one fly. That's why when we saw Hodges have the wide open angle towards the goal, she didn't go. Because I think Jen Williams knows she's smart about it. She's not going to be so optimistic. She knows that Putman would probably win the draw and CNS would have the possession, essentially score, and then get the possession right back.
Yeah, I agree. Really, right now, it just comes down to how hard do you want it? How badly do you want it?
Rob, I think we might need to take a break from broadcasts. We need the North Stars to get a win in something.
Yeah, going a whole week without a win, it's really awkward because you got to keep in mind these CNS students are our classmates and we see them in school every day.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Just calling their losses gets a little awkward sometimes.
Good thing I get 2 days of rest down between a certain player before I see her Monday or Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
You don't.
I don't.
But they seem ready. I think they're going to come out physical. And I don't want to single a person out, but it's a certain official that I think has had the happy whistle the most. We're both looking at the same guy, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, we said it earlier.
There has been a happy whistle
going on one side, and I hate to blame the refs on anything, and I don't want to blame.
As
the
I'm
ref.
pretty sure it is Official Appreciation Week from NISFA.
Yeah, that too. I think blaming refs is just, it doesn't make sense.
It's sorry.
Yeah, it really is. And both teams have had the problems with the ref. It's as simple as just calls going only really on one side of the field, and it ends up hurting the team. But at the end of the day, this clock is running, and CNS is nowhere near the ball as of right now. And they double commit there. That just opens the whole field up.
They've got a double team. Mira they're going to stick check there. The clock's still running. As now here's Bernash getting pressured. Now she's got triple team, quadruple team on Bernash. They can get something here. They've only got 10 seconds. Looks like South Jeff is going to come into Michael J. Bragman Stadium with a win.
Yeah, and the last time they were here, they won, and they win again. Somehow South Jeff just plays extremely well when they come to Michael J. Bragman Stadium, and there's the final whistle. So 8-7 is your final score. Only 3 goals scored by South Jeff in that second half, and
4 goals total in the entire second half.
1 goal scored by CNS in the second half.
Very defensive-minded second half from both. Defensive-minded game in general.
Yeah, 8-7 is a very low-scoring lacrosse game.
I mean, when we saw them take on South Jefferson, it was a 7-6 game. Other than that, when South Jeff gets in their league, they just run up the numbers because the competition isn't there. And CNS, that's the lowest scoring game they've had since both sides with West Jenny. having
Yeah.
low-scoring games.
And that's just a tough game to lose, really. It's a close one. It's a nail-biter. Comes down to the final, really last 45, 3 minutes of the game, whatever you want to call it. It's just a tough one to lose. CNS will have to recollect. And now they're on a 2-game losing streak. That advances their record to 5-5. So they'll look to bounce back in their next game.
Yeah, I'm sure going into this season, Coach Stephanie Prentice and the entire varsity roster did not expect them to be 500 at the end of April.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. And I think that's just a testament to how good their section and the teams they brought in to play them have been this year.
Yeah, the North Stars do look back. I think we have them home Tuesday with FM, if I'm not mistaken. I know the boys are on the road.
I do believe you're correct. It is FM on Tuesday.
So we get the Johns Hopkins commit of the Hornets, Ava Angelo, someone we saw on the basketball court earlier in the winter, because it's here on the lacrosse field. On Tuesday, be sure not to miss on the North Star Network. 7 o'clock, we'll be live, and you'll be listening. From the North Star Network, to my right is Johnny Lisi and Drew Mediatic. Thank you guys so much for helping out on stats, being an analytic guy, and camera. Tim Benarth, your athletic director. Daryl White, the PA. Equipment manager Joe Howell. To my left-hand side, my color commentator, my best bud, Robert Bateman. My name is Owen O'Keefe. Have a great rest of your Saturday and Sunday, everybody.